Hello, everyone.
Good evening.
I need to turn something off first, and somebody's got it on in the background, and we can't have that. So,
Who are we waiting for?
actually, let's see. We've got, well, Alida needs to turn on her screen.
Okay.
Okay, how do I do that?
Oh, in the bottom, well, on your machine, it should have the ability. I don't know what you're using. What do you have?
Lenovo?
Oh, Lenovo. I have no idea.
We can hear you, Alida. We can hear
lost
you.
Sorry,
Bob.
guys.
Oh, come on, Alida. I'm hoping you're on. Oh man.
I'm on.
We can hear you, yeah.
But your the problem is we can't see you, and we want to be able to see you.
There's
So,
a function.
go ahead. Who's ever talking? Somebody want to explain?
There's a separate function for the camera and for the video.
Yeah. So, all right, let's get underway and let's see whether Alida can at least,
We lost her.
left, and Bob is coming back on. And, you know, the problem with Bob is I bet he has an iPad. So,
Oh, here comes somebody.
now there's Bob. So,
Dun, dun, dun.
okay. All right, let me get started. Thank you, everyone,
There you go.
for getting to know you. It's the class of 1971, and it's their 50th reunion this year. And so my guest tonight, let's make sure that Bob can hear me. Bob, Bob can't hear me. Everyone else can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Can't hear.
Yes, I can.
Okay, so as I call your name, raise your thumb that you're Patrice, you can hear me, correct? Patrice, Richard, Turkheimer.
I can hear you.
Great. Joe Hall, you can hear
Can you
me.
hear me now?
We practiced this.
Yes, we
Susan
did.
Simon,
Here I am.
you can hear me.
I can hear you and see you,
Bob cannot hear us.
but we can see Bob.
Bob is putting his fingers to his ears.
So why don't we have Alida talk for Bob?
I can talk for Bob.
All right.
I just still can't get how to figure out how to do this camera.
Well, are you running Microsoft? Do you have like a Windows program? Because on the bottom of my Windows program, just above the bottom, it says mic, stop cam, cam mic, leave studio. So
Right.
I don't know if you have something under there. Do you have anything like that?
I do.
All right, so I would assume that if you would have hit where it says cam/mic, try hitting that and hit that and see if it brings it on.
Whoops.
Do you have a camera on your computer?
Yes.
Okay.
That was my first question as a computer.
It is.
Bob is back.
You
You left
hear
Bob?
us yet? Bob.
I guess not. The poor guy.
Oh, I tried so hard to get him on. So, all right.
Uh-oh. Yes?
Yes.
That looked like a yes. He's smiling. But if he's listening to YouTube, he's going to be 30 seconds to a minute way behind. So, okay, so let's get going. And Richard, you'll have to forgive me if I call you Larry.
Yeah. You can call me David. Just don't call me Larry. David's the other brother.
No, I know, David. Yes. It's just funny.
It's okay. I know. It's okay. It's a
Because
story of my life.
Joe looks just like his brother, who I went.
No, he looks like me. I'm the oldest. He looks like me.
Sorry, and yes, and I graduated with his brother. So
What year was that?
I'm supposed to be class of 75, but I graduated a year early in 74. So I didn't know any of you. So, but I do now. I know at least Patrice. So this is a return engagement for Patrice. Are you talking to Bob's wife?
I am contacting Lori because I think that she thought that he needed to be on YouTube.
No.
So I am correcting her. That's what's happening.
Okay.
So I'm gonna see if they can get this straight.
Is she a graduate of Wantagh High School too?
No, but she might as well be.
Uh-oh. Somebody just went off. So we still have Alida.
Yeah.
All right. Here we are. The whole premise of this show is just to get together with people who graduate from Wantagh High School. We have something in common, even though we don't know each other. You're probably all wondering who the hell I am. I came up with this idea from work, and I've enjoyed doing it. And we're booked out until September now. With various classes. We have one more class in 1971 coming. Mark Strauss, I believe, is leading that group. So anyway, I enjoy doing this, and it's fun to hear about people's stories and how they got where they are. And we have a full house tonight, and this was the episode that was struck down by lightning.
Right.
And
Yes.
it was crazy. The lightning was hitting in my neighborhood. Uh-oh. The problem with Bob is
You are screwing me.
I get feedback because he's on twice. So anyway. This is crazy. Anyway, lightning was hitting everywhere, and it was just a crazy evening. I took a picture of the storm coming in advance, and then I put it on online, and the local newspaper picked it up as the a picture of the night, for how bad things were, because I live right in. If I could point to it, just water is right there. Uh-oh, God, they're yelling at one another.
Well, at least we have audio.
We have audio. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Tell you the truth, Glenn, it seems like lightning has struck again.
Well, yes, it has. It has. It's that Hall humor.
Almost every episode, there's been like an issue, except the first one.
The first 71 was perfect. And I was so pleased by that. So anyway, let's get
I'm sorry.
Typical Bob.
Bob Skinner.
I don't know. I don't change
Is he talking?
devices.
Oh, we hear
Oh,
Bob.
there he
We hear
is.
you, Bob.
I can hear him. But he can't hear us.
frozen.
You know what it is. I know exactly what it is. He is using an iPad. And I've told you
Told
guys
everybody not to use an iPad.
not to use an iPad. Use an iPhone, use a laptop. Anyhow, all right, we're getting underway. So, Richard.
Yes.
Are you Rich or Richard?
Richard is fine.
Hey, Richard, what grade school did you go to, and what part of Wantagh did you live in? And
I went to Forest Lake. I grew up in the Holiday Park area.
yeah,
And my folks moved to Wantagh so that I was able to start kindergarten at Forest Lake School.
cool.
We moved from Queens.
Oh, okay. What year was that?
1958, I guess. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, my parents had moved in to the hood in 49 over by Temple Drive, which was, there were old farms over there. So,
This neighborhood was new. I mean, I remember playing in the backyard on mounds of dirt
yeah.
in areas where there were unfinished houses.
Yeah, yeah. My sister-in-law, who graduated in '62 from Wantagh, she's from Forest Lake area, but she went to Catholic school until
Ah,
high school. So, okay. So
Yes,
Susan Diamond.
Susan
Okay.
Diamond.
I keep on thinking you're the other name. So
Hutchin?
yeah,
What other name? Hutchin, my married name?
yeah, yeah. So, and your husband, I've
Yes.
learned he went to Wantagh.
He graduated in 66.
Cool. So, what part of town were you from?
I was from Wantagh Woods, which was up Wantagh Avenue, up Island Road, going
Okay.
toward Seaford.
So, you were on Island Road?
I was on James, which was a very small. Pat might remember. Pat, do you remember?
I
Patrice?
remember your house
Yeah.
really, really well.
Um, I grew up on a very small street off of Island Road. James Road was a very small street with maybe about 8 or 9 houses on it. We were not a development. It was everyone had a piece of property and they built their own home on the property.
So, you had a unique home.
The house I grew up in was not like any other on the street. Yes.
Yeah, that's cool because I remember Island Road had a lot of unique homes. They weren't part of the developments.
No, we were not in a development. No. It
Yeah.
was an older home that must have been built maybe in the 40s,
Huh. Yeah,
maybe. Not really sure. And I went to Beach Street.
you did
Yes.
kindergarten through 6.
No, we lived in behind Cherrywood, which was Levittown, Wantagh, Levittown schools, but Wantagh. And we lived there until I was in 3rd grade. And then I transferred it over to my parents sold their house and then moved to Wantagh proper. And I started 4th grade, Miss Fry in Beach Street School.
Yeah. Did you have Mrs. Lamb in
I
6?
did not have Mrs. Lamb. I had Mrs. Fitzgerald.
Oh, yes. I remember
Remember her?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So now we'll go to Joe.
Yes.
Where are you from, Joe?
Originally from Levittown. After 6th grade, we went to Woodland Avenue. So I started junior high. In 7th, now I'm in Jersey.
Yeah, but you were so you didn't do elementary school. So you
No. We were right in 7th grade. That's when I started junior high.
So Woodland is in between Sunrise and Merrick?
No, it's just south of Merrick Road.
Oh, just south. Okay.
Yeah, where it went into Merrick Road, right by the entrance to Wantagh Park. If you went down that street, that was Woodland Avenue.
Yeah.
And you used to hang out at JBH.
Yeah, yeah, too many times. Yeah, I worked up at Causeway Deli up there, up the block on Merrick Road, and when Wantagh Park was built, that was fun. I was friends with David Adato, still talk to him on and off.
Yeah, yeah, and you'd go skating on
Mill Pond. That was a great place, man. That was cool. I had a good time there, walking around there, and and that's when lakes used to really freeze up around here.
Yes, except I was with my brother, who's 7 years older, and he was playing hockey, and I was skating, and all of a sudden I heard.
Oh yeah.
And
we used to go under the bridge by the waterfall there. We'd go right underneath that thing.
Man, my brother heard it.
Crazy
I think he had seen Jimmy Stewart too many times, and he didn't want to, jump in the water to save his brother. So he stopped playing hockey and skated over to me, and made sure I got back safely. So that's cool. We got a lot of other questions coming. So Alida,
Yes.
Alida Johnson, right?
Well, it's Lions now.
I know, but in high school,
Yeah,
you
in
were
high school, in elementary and high school, it was Johnson.
okay. So Alida, I see your name a lot, but I was just wondering. Same question. What part of? How did you get to Wantagh? What part of Wantagh were you in? Where did you go to grade school?
I went to Mandalay
Ooh.
Elementary School. I lived just north of Merrick Road in a little community off of Linden Street and Brookside Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
And I was friends with Linda Santi, Soccer,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and Cindy Coombs, who went to school with us, and we would walk to Mandalay, which was over a mile. There was no bus back then for us. So we walked every day back and forth to school, the three of us. And then I went to Wantagh Junior High and then Wantagh High School.
Would it have been closer enough for you to go to Sunrise Park School? Or
Yes. I was much closer to Sunrise, but for whatever reason, they decided that we had to go to Mandalay. It was a brand new school and they needed students, and they were still building up down there, the houses. So they were pulling from different areas to go down to Mandalay.
Okay, cool. They needed to populate. It's funny because when I was in Beach Street School, a lot of kids from the Mandalay area below Merrick were being beached up. Were being bused up to Beach Street School. So they were moving us all around. We were the pig and the python. We had the largest class. The peak of the baby boomer. So so do you think Robert Bob can hear us?
Yes.
Yes, he can hear us.
He must be nauseous. He's sideways.
There's a delay. Yeah. I'm all-
Oh, he's in delay. I'm trying to figure out why he would be delayed. Unless that's a sign that but so the question, Bob, if you could answer. Actually, he's frozen.
That was the same problem I think you and I were having when I tried the iPad routine with
No,
you.
it is. And he's gone. Hey, Patrice, could you do me a favor? Since you've already been part of this, if you could walk off screen and call his wife and tell him he can call me. He can absolutely call me at 20. You want to write down my number?
Hold on one second.
Yep. And I can bring him in on the show on my phone.
Okay.
So 202-412-7060.
Okay.
I'm not going to add him to the stream because he falls off all the time. And I'm sorry, Alida, that we're not seeing you. I have no idea.
Yeah, I can't figure it out because I did an interview the other day with the camera and it worked fine.
Yeah, and this program we're using now is not Zoom. It's a front end to Zoom. And I do Zoom. I'm a computer guy, if you haven't figured out. So, but I'm trying not to be a computer guy here. I use this platform as a front end to Zoom because I do Zoom meetings every day, like multiple times a day, starting at 7, ending at 5. So sometimes having to start up later. So anyway, let's see whether Bob calls in because I want to ask him where he's from. Anybody know where he was from?
Wantagh.
No, I know that. God,
Yeah,
I
it's
thought
not
he
just
was the comedian.
There's
Bob went to Sunrise Park.
Some things don't change.
He lived about 2 blocks from Sunrise Park, maybe 3 blocks.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
All right. You see, I have this thought that Joe's the comedian. So, I still don't know. Is he going to call me, Patrice? You think?
Patrice, she never.
I sent Lori your phone
Okay.
number and told Bob to call you.
Well, right now he has a drink. Patrice hasn't gone because she's gone before. But Patrice, tell us where you're from in Wantagh.
I
And
was
how
from
you
Holiday Park. I moved there in the middle of the second grade from Brooklyn, Flatbush. And I had a wonderful teacher. I don't remember her name because
Yes.
at a week.
Hold on, Patrice. Hey, Bob, you're on.
Yes.
You're on the air. So just hold on a second and I will get to you in 1 second. We're going with Patrice. So we're not going to do you on camera.
All right. Bye.
We're just, no, don't hang up.
Oh, don't hang up.
Don't.
Okay.
You're
I'm just going to be on by phone.
correct. You're going to be on by phone. Okay. And you're going to go next. Patrice is the filler. So she was just telling us that she's from
Right.
Holiday Park.
Right after I got into Forest Lake School, the teacher left because she got married, and I guess you couldn't teach and be married at the same time back then. So I had Mrs. Lucas, and I remember she was mean to me, of course. I did nothing wrong. I lived in Holiday Park right near Richard. Richard, I think, lived on the smallest block I've ever seen. Weren't there just 2 houses on your block? You're muted.
You're muted.
Yeah, there were 2 houses on my street, Cedar Lane.
Right.
I don't remember that. No.
Wow. So, so then you did all the remaining years at Forest Lake, Patrice,
Right.
and then went in. Okay, we're gonna go to Bob.
Junior high.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Bob.
Hi, Bob. Hey, Lori.
So Bob, you came in. The problem is you have an iPad, and I have
or a very old iPhone.
yeah.
It's really old. Yeah.
No, it's okay. This is fine.
And this is why I retired. I was a civil engineer, and this is why I retired. It's the friggin' equipment.
Yes, I understand. That's why Joe. So you can't see anybody on screen, but we have Patrice, Richard Turkheimer, Susan Diamond, you, Alida Johnson, and Joe Hall. So they've already gone. So the question I'm going to put to you, and I've already found out that you live 2 blocks from Sunrise Park School.
2 houses.
Oh,
2
2
houses. I mean, I was right there.
Wow. And how did you end up in Wantagh, and did you get to do all 6 years at Sunrise?
Oh, yeah, I was born in the hospital in Freeport, and was a Wantagh resident all the way through.
Oh, cool. Well, and now that school's gone, have you gone back and seen that the school's missing?
I have not seen it without the school, other than on like Google Earth or something.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I'm really glad you could call in. You came in on a 303 number, which to my mind is Colorado.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a minute. So we're gonna usual. Oh. Okay. If you have a mute button, Bob, on your phone when you're not talking.
I'm talking on a telephone, dude.
No, I know, but you have a cell phone, right?
Yeah. Does a telephone have a mute button?
Are you calling me on a landline? Bob.
Does he know what a landline is?
Oh God, Susan.
What?
Did you guys know one another?
Patrice and I knew each other.
So you were humorous. You had a good sense of humor.
We're humorous. We'll say we're humorous.
Yeah. Joe's brother John was always humorous. So anyway, the question I like to ask at this point is the trajectory. well, he's walked away. Probably had to go to the restroom. Um, hey, I know my audience. So
We have to pee. I don't know.
anyway, the question I usually ask is the trajectory that your life took the day you graduated, which is the 27th of June, according to one of our previous guests. And so it's the 27th of June, 1971. And what happened to you after that date? And and maybe throw in whether it's what you really wanted to do or how you ended up being what you ended up doing. And let's start with Richard. You're on mute.
So I went to the University of Colorado with Bob Christensen and Ron Rudolph and
Wow.
Lori Wiseman.
Wow.
And I made it there for 3 semesters. And there were way too many distractions for me to be successful in college there.
Wow.
This was in 1971, so I took about a year off. I stayed in Boulder, and then I transferred back to a New York State school, which was more to my liking. It was a smaller school. And I went upstate to New York to Oneonta, and I finished school up there and started a master's program and then dropped out of that. So that was my college trajectory.
And where are you now? And how did you get to where you are now?
Boy, we might have to go to the highlight reel because I've moved a lot and done a lot of different things.
Those are the kinds of people I like. So, sounds like me. So,
Yeah,
where are you sitting right now?
Right now, I'm in Chapel Hill, North Carolina.
Okay.
We moved here about a year ago. We had been in New Orleans for 26 years.
Wow.
And decided that the crime and the healthcare and the rising water were not really conducive to just staying the rest of our lives there, which was sad because that was the greatest place I ever lived. But we're in Chapel Hill now and love it here. Just really like it here a lot.
Yeah, I love New Orleans. My first post-COVID trip was New Orleans.
Yeah,
so,
we lived right downtown, about 2-3 blocks from the French Quarter for the whole time we were there, and it was a great experience. I mean, the music, the food, the people, the culture, the Mardi Gras, everything was just really great. Just loved it there.
Yeah, I worked for a nonprofit organization which had a contract to explain HIPAA rules to hospitals. And the first place I got to go was Louisiana and New Orleans. I spent 2 separate 1-month stays in New Orleans, and then went to Lafayette and all over Baton Rouge.
Yes.
And I loved it. And so I said to my wife, "Hey, let's go to New Orleans."
Yeah.
Since
I watched the show a couple of weeks ago, and Blazieski used to be down there a lot because he worked for the federal government, and there was a space center about 20 minutes, well, maybe a half hour, 45 minutes from New Orleans. And so he was there all the time. I never saw him, never knew he was there, but he had talked about having been there and spent a lot of time there.
Wow. Well, it's a fun place. So give us a highlight reel of the other cities you lived in.
Key West.
Oh, wow.
And then Chapel Hill, Raleigh, Charlotte, Tampa, New Orleans, Winston-Salem, and back to Chapel Hill. So about half the time in North Carolina, half the time in Louisiana.
Oneonta, dude.
And Oneonta. I forgot
Yeah.
about that.
There you go.
Yeah, Oneonta.
And did you end up doing what you wanted to do?
I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I know what my parents wanted me to do, and I didn't do that. So I've done a bunch of different things. In Florida, I lived on a boat and just learned how to do construction work, build houses here the first time in North Carolina. Then I spent most of my career running country radio stations in the Southeast.
Wow, that's interesting.
Oh,
So,
cool.
In the media business.
Yeah.
He had white cowboy boots.
Oh man. So I did that for a long time, and then I ran the sales department for the Associated Press radio division for about 10 years. And that was really just a cool job. And then I switched directions and sold software to school districts for teachers to work with kids that for social emotional learning and for kids with autism. So it was a whole different thing. I did that for about 10 years.
Cool.
And I went to work for the New Orleans Saints radio network for a couple of years, and then I retired and moved to North Carolina. And now I am working retail in a store that sells, it's called Wild Birds Unlimited, and it sells bird feeders and bird seed. And I am an officially anointed bird feeding specialist.
Wow.
And that's it.
I love it. So you're semi-retired?
I work part-time. Yeah, I work about 25 to 30 hours a week.
Cool. All right. Well, it sounds like you've had a very interesting life.
It's been fun. We didn't have kids, so we were able to move when we wanted to rather than be committed to stay someplace. And so if I got bored or tired of something or didn't like the politics of a company, I just said, let's go.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah. No, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Hey, can I chime in?
Yes.
Uh-oh.
Please.
I just want to say that a couple months before we graduated from high school, or maybe probably 1 month, Turk and I went to the 1971 shut down Washington, D.C. over Vietnam War. And that was quite an experience.
Yep.
And I think it kind of, maybe for a lot of us, that Vietnam War thing really shaped a lot of our lives in a lot of ways.
Absolutely.
Yeah. One of the
I went
things
to that also.
Yeah. One of the things that I thought about the 1971 class is that I don't think there was more tumult in the U.S. than during your years.
I agree.
With Martin Luther King,
Bobby
Kennedy
Kennedy.
dying, with Stonewall happening, with women's liberation happening, the pill, all these various things taking place, and particularly the Vietnam War, and I know that my brother graduated class of 68, so his primary focus was on what his number was.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a brother from 68 too.
Oh, okay. Oh, I think I saw that. Yeah.
Right.
So my brother came up like number 39, but he wasn't a very good student. And my parents put him into college, and he lasted one semester. And my parents pulled every string they could to get him in Nassau Community College. And so he somehow avoided going to Vietnam. But I guess that really does, that is a big issue for your class. I can't imagine any other class that there were, I run the Vietnam, I run the Wantagh Memorial, so I see who's passed away and who was in the military.
You do that?
Yeah, that's me.
Did you start it?
Mindy and I started it, and Mindy started it with a piece of paper on a wall, and people filling out names, and then we put it online. And I was the tech person behind it, and then I took it over. I gave it the new website.
Mm-hmm.
But
Because there was a guy you put on there before he died.
and you know how that.
But now he did die.
I think sooner or later he'll be up there.
You're gonna be right, man.
So it's a funny story. Class of 64, the guy who runs all their events, runs their reunions and stuff, he tells me, hey, your list is short of people. And he gives me his list. I compare them. I put up those people, and like within a day, 6 of those people write to me and say, I'm not dead. So ever since that point, I've required authenticity of people.
Death certificate?
No. It has to be somebody who knows them, family member, something. A good friend, close friend. The head of a class is not necessarily going to be the closest friend. So anyway, Richard, thank you very much. Joe, just drop in anytime you want. I want to go to Alida. I feel bad because we don't see her on camera, but Alida, so it's graduation day, and what did you do after graduation day?
I went off to Longmeadow, Mass, to a school called Bay Path, along with Sue Beckman. She and I went to that school, and I lasted about 5 months and decided that college wasn't for me. Came home and joined the airlines. I got a job with Sabina Belgian World Airlines and worked for them for like 7 years. Met my husband through Sabina, and he was military. And so we traveled all over the United States, mainly based in San Diego for the most part, but we did tours in Newport and DC. And then my father passed away from liver cancer. And before he passed away, he asked me if I would come and take care of my mom here in Sarasota, Florida. So we uprooted the entire family and came to Sarasota, Florida, and took care of my mom. And I've been in the telecommunications field and in banking a lot. And right now I'm in the Department of Health for the state of Florida in disease intervention services, doing COVID, working on the COVID cases, which are really on the uptick. I got to tell you guys, it's really amazing from 2 weeks ago how little there was coming into this week, how many cases are coming in.
Oh, shit.
COVID. It's really skyrocketing here.
Oh, shit.
Well, I work internationally, and one of the people I work with was in Liberia, fully vaccinated, and she was there a month ago, and she came down with the Delta variant in Liberia, and fully vaccinated, and so she was sick there, could not leave, could not come back to the U.S. Until about 10 days ago. So the Delta is, I work at Johns Hopkins University, so I get to hear about all of this. So,
Right.
But so I'm glad you're working on this kind of stuff. So you're in Sarasota.
Yes, I'm in Sarasota, and I'm planning on coming to the reunion. I got my plane ticket, my hotel reservations, my car rental.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, cars cost like $1,000 a week to rent these days.
Well, I got a pretty good deal through Hertz for $62 a day.
Oh, that's good. That is good. My second trip was to New Mexico. I guess about a month ago, and the car cost $900 for 7 days.
Wow.
So it was crazy. So so do people who live in Sarasota retire up north?
Yeah. Let's say this, that the people them from up north are retiring in Sarasota. Sarasota is the #1 town in the United States right now for people moving.
Wow.
We're #1 on the list.
Well, I can imagine that. So, all right, Alida, we're going to go from you to Joe. Joe, you're up.
Okay. So I was born at Freeport Hospital also. Turned around and ended up in Levittown on Prairie Lane. Like I said, junior high, I started there in 7th grade. Woodland Avenue I lived on. Always kind of cool about junior high for me was that I had my, when they had the extension of the junior high, I had my uncle and grandfather were working there. So I loved seeing them. I'd go down the hallway and these two guys would come up and at least one of them would give me a hug. And we would, I would say, hi, Uncle Henny, hi, Grandpa. And people would look at me and it's like, I was proud that they were working there. And it was for me, it was a cool thing to see them there. And, they were there for at least a couple of years. High school, I started working, like I said, at Causeway Deli. My first real job was delivering the Long Island Press.
Mm.
And
Wow.
I loved the deli. I mean, I really did. Really wanted to try to go into the business, but let's see. I got a little sidetracked partying a little bit too much. Let's just put it that way in life. And but he taught me a lot. George really did a great job for me, and I carried that all throughout still to today. I started my first real job was I tried to go to Long Island Tech, I think it was. I really had no interest in going to college. I came from a family. My father was trying to get me to go, and I just saw my father always working. His idea was get a job at a company. And so he got me into Long Island Lining Company. I read meters, went into credit and collection. And that customer service business was terrible. We were in the middle of Shoreham. My wife and I, when I got married, we were at a party and we actually walked out. I said, "That's it. I'm done. I'm leaving." Everybody was anti-Shoreham, which I don't blame them. There was no way to escape Long Island. It was all BS. So went through that. But part about it was I met the love of my life, my wife, Pat. We met at Belmont office. And we got to Suffolk County. I had an apartment. Then we got a house up in Stony Brook. And our daughter, we have one child, Kristen. And she was good in a lot of sports. I followed her all around. And then I had left Loco after about 14 years. And I decided to, I got a job part-time nights while still working at Loco to try out FedEx. I was loading cargo. And then an opportunity came for me to become a driver. I became a driver. And I liked it. I've always considered myself, wherever I worked, it was me first before it was, they were my customers before they were the company's customers. So FedEx just felt perfectly in line. And when I was living in Stony Brook, I actually had a route in Setauket and I had a route in Stony Brook. So I would go home every day. I was absolutely spoiled out of my mind. It was great. But the only time I had to deal with bosses was 20 minutes in the morning and, or maybe an hour in the morning and maybe 20 minutes at night. So it was a good gig. I liked it. and was good enough to last 35 years there. I retired in January 2020. And since I only have one daughter, one child, so when Kristen she went to Monmouth University down here. She was on a lacrosse scholarship, and she did great. Really excelled. So, of course, when they go to college, they find a love of their life within the area. Most of them, most people do, I assume. At least she did. And chasing her ever since. As soon as she became pregnant and she had our grandson, that was it. I was able with FedEx to transfer anywhere in the company. At that time, I had 25 years in. Came down to Jersey. I had no freaking clue. I had no idea where I was. I mean, guys are telling me I had always had a regular route for the most part on Long Island, and I love consistency. I'm not a big guy to go outside the bubble too often. So just turn around, and I'm down here. And guys, I'm down by the shore. I'm working in Long Branch, and guys are going, "Oh yeah, it's right over here. It's right by the place, the windmill." And I look at him, I go, "Fellas, I've been here 2 freaking weeks. Really? The windmill? Do I know what the windmill? What is the windmill?" And it's a big hot dog place down here. All right. So I'm absolutely lost. And I really had a hard time adjusting, probably for the first year and a half. Oh, I forgot something. I did get an opportunity in my life to own a business, and we bought a video store. So we had a 8.5-year run with all the blockbusters in Hollywood around by us. I had a great time. My wife and I both ran it. First year and a half, I did not take a day off from the store. Worked FedEx, all vacations, worked the store. I loved it. I found out I knew more about movies than I expected to. And I just wanted to win, lose, or draw. I just wanted to open a business up. And it's probably the only thing that I really had on a bucket list, if you want to, I'm dribbling myself in a nursing home. I don't have to turn around and say I did it, And we were successful, and it ran for 8.5 years and well respected in the neighborhood, which was a big thing that I also wanted to accomplish. We put money in our pocket, so I have nothing to complain about. And have a wonderful grandson. He's 12. He plays lacrosse just like his mom, plays football. The kid's great. And not only is he good in sports, he's good in school, and he's just an all-around good kid. And that's who I chase. I chase if it wasn't chasing my daughter, now I'm chasing my grandson, and I have no qualms about it. It's a great thing. Like I said, retired in January 2020, and we just moved in August of last year into a senior community development with my sister-in-law lives down the block. They're snowbirds, though. They go back and forth to Florida. But it's good for my wife. She enjoys it, and we're finally starting to meet people and do stuff like that. And I also volunteer about 30 hours. Right now, I'm doing about 30 hours a week at a place that services helps women and children in need. So we service about 3,000 people total. So that's been a good thing, really good thing. So I've enjoyed that, but I have to cut the hours down. I came to retire. I didn't come to work another full-time or a job.
Yeah.
I'm lucky enough to get to that point.
So what town do you live in New Jersey?
Well, we're in Ocean Township.
Okay.
Which is near Eatontown, which is near Long Branch, West Long Branch. I'm only 12 minutes from my daughter.
Cool.
There's Asbury Park is nearby us, 20 minutes. I'm in Point Pleasant, 30 minutes I'm in Seaside. I'm not a beach rat, so just wasn't never our thing. So we enjoy the boardwalks and all. That's one thing I really like about Jersey, which we don't really get to experience that much on Long Island, is the boardwalks. You can walk for miles from one town to another on a boardwalk. And when I say miles, there are some areas where you can go 5 miles on a clip one way, one town to another town to another town. And you're experiencing all the different towns, and you just have the water. You're walking north, the water's on the right. You turn around and you come back, the water's on the left. And it's a great view. You know what I mean? I really like that,
No, that's great.
That's it.
Great. Very, very interesting. And I have 2 kids, and I told them a long time ago, because I traveled the world and they stayed in Annapolis. But, that they should just go wherever it is they want to go. in the world and do whatever they want to do. And, we'll meet up at, along the way. I'll find them, but I'm not going to move to where they are. We'll be fine. But my son has lived in Japan, has lived in Paris, has lived in Italy. And my daughter is a digital nomad. So she gets to ski 88 days in the winter as long as she does her job. So that's all they care about. We're going to move to Susan Diamond. Are you
Yeah.
ready?
I'm ready.
So there it is, graduation. And after you make a joke to Patrice, you say, I think I'm going to go where? What do you do?
What do I do? I went to school in Hartford, Connecticut for 2 years. I was an elementary ed major. My mom was a school teacher. I transferred. I really wanted to go to NYU because I really wanted to party in the city, but I didn't get into NYU. So I got into Hofstra. I went to Hofstra and I had a girlfriend at NYU and I used to party in the weekends in NYU. That's really what I wanted to do. Graduated. I got my master's at New Paltz in special education. I got married. I taught for 32 years in Kingston City Schools as a special ed teacher. And then I retired in 2011 and we moved to Florida because my mom was down here. So I had 10 years with my mom, which was very nice. She lived close by. And we use this as a base and we take off a lot. I also like to travel. I have a daughter in California and I have a daughter in Maryland. Every 3 months, we're either in Maryland or California. We try to go back and forth. And that's my life.
We're in Maryland.
I have a daughter in Tacoma Park and I have a daughter in San Francisco.
Yeah. Well,
That's it.
yeah, I'll go through Tacoma Park in 2 days, but I'm out at Annapolis. So if you're ever in Annapolis, just turn left and hit the water.
Is the water on the right or the left?
Yeah, well, the water's on both sides here. But
I do have a story about Patrice. Patrice and I met maybe in junior high, Patrice? High school? I'm not even sure.
Probably junior high.
And we both were fans of the Doors.
Oh, no.
In some point, I think it was 1967 or 68, somehow, probably one of our parents, I don't really remember, took us to the Westbury Music Fair where we saw the Doors, Jim Morrison and the Doors. And we were so excited because it was right after he had been arrested, I believe, in Florida. And yes, he did do a split. And yes, he did tear his pants. And we were very excited.
His pants had lanyards holding them together and he was pulling on them.
Oh, well, see, there you go.
Yeah.
And so that was one of my earliest concerts that I went to was with Patrice. And I still go to concerts. In fact, I have tickets to see Van Morrison during the winter. So my husband and I do like to do that. My husband is also an artist like Patrice. And that's one of his pieces behind me. And we're still very involved in the art scene in Florida. When we're in the cities or any city, we take advantage of the museums that are there. And my husband still paints and draws, and he's involved in that. And I do volunteer work. I volunteer in a soup kitchen 1 day a week, and I play tennis and I do other things that are afforded to me in Florida, which makes it very easy to do those things. And there's a lot of us down here, I guess.
yeah,
And Kessler's down here. There's some other people down here.
yeah.
Nancy Peters, I still see.
How did you end up marrying somebody from the class of '66?
I met him at a party at Sherry Shapiro's house, Patrice. I'm used to calling her Pat, but anyway, not that I see her that often.
I'm used to calling her Test.
Test, I see that. I forgot the question already.
No, your husband. You met at
My
a
husband.
party.
I met him at a party, and we dated off and on through college. And then when I finished college that summer, we got married, and we moved. We left Long Island and we moved upstate New York. And I lived in the Hudson Valley for like almost 40 years before I came down here,
Cool. Cool.
which is really nice. It's Woodstock, Kingston, Rhinebeck. If you guys know anything about the Hudson Valley, it's very pretty.
I spent all my vacations there because my grandparents lived in Kingston
Oh, really?
Dog.
Where did they live, Patrice?
on Spring Lake Drive.
Oh, I think I know where that is.
Do you know where it's right near the Thruway?
Yes, it is near the.
Yeah, they were like early settlers there.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, well,
I taught there for 32 years, and my husband and I were both school teachers. My husband went he went to visual arts, and then he went to New Paltz and got his master's in teaching. So we both taught. So it's been very nice. We have a couple of kids, a couple of grandchildren, and I've been lucky in life. I have been, and it all started in Wantagh.
Yeah, well, I hear you. All right. Well, speaking of Van Morrison,
Oh, we've seen Van a lot. We love him.
have you ever seen Cheap Trick at all?
No, but I like Cheap Trick.
I was a roadie. for
Oh,
Cheap
okay.
Trick. So I was in graduate school, and a friend said,
I like
"Hey, you want to work as a roadie?"
Wow.
And I have tinnitus, permanent tinnitus.
Oh, loud music. Yeah.
Yeah, because my back was to the stage, and after you set up the stage, and so I curse them every day. So we're going to Bob. So Bob,
Hey,
I know that you went to University of Colorado after
wait,
graduation.
I'm gonna go way back, and I don't know if it's 7th or 8th grade, but a little bit about myself.
Okay, go for it.
My mother died when I was 11. I had a bunch of brothers. I had an older sister, but she was out of the house. She was gone. And we were Catholic. I was so deathly afraid of girls. Just that was me. And I felt like if I held hands with a girl, I was violating them. So anyway, Susan Diamond one day said that, "Oh, you need to go steady with Cindy Johnson."
Oh my God, Cindy Johnson.
and I
You remember this?
I followed through and did it, but like I say, I was scared of girls, so it didn't quite work out. And it's just like an early memory of
Really? I have no idea.
Yeah,
Well,
it was like
certainly don't remember that.
life, and you're part of it. Yeah, okay. All right, but anyway,
I guess it didn't last.
like 3 weeks, I went to that jeweler down by Mr. Hess in
Yeah. Yeah.
and I bought a cheap ring, and I tried to do it right, but it just didn't work out. It was all on me.
We're going.
Whatever happened to Cindy Johnson, Susan? Do you have any idea?
I haven't seen Cindy Johnson since college. I used to come home on breaks, and I would always stop at her parents' house because her parents were always very nice and kind to me. And I don't know where she is. I think she was also a school teacher. I believe she had her brothers, Ricky and Rusty Johnson, and I believe Rusty passed away and Ricky's still with us. But I don't know anything what happened to
All right. Well, I apologize to her for being a jerk. Anyway.
Does anyone know anything about Cindy Johnson?
I got to go to University of Colorado, and I think Turk will testify that when we got there, it was like a fantasy land. It was so nice, and Boulder was so nice, and 3 out of 4 of us who went there, I'm still friends with, and that's pretty cool. So and we all stayed. And what else? Oh no, but I left. I went to North Carolina. I worked for the Corps of Engineers. I took up civil engineering, but probably the most significant thing in my life was we were like hippies and we wanted to move to a farm, and Lori had property in the Ozarks of Missouri.
Oh, gee.
I apologize for my dog. We moved to the Ozarks of Missouri and on her family's property, and it happened to be near an engineering school. So I went to college twice. Like the first time I went to college was a total loss. 4 years of an English degree at like a 2.0001 GPA. But then I went back to school in Missouri when we found this farm in the Ozarks, and it happened to be really near a great engineering school. And I took up water resources engineering and made a living of it. So I was a lucky man.
Cool.
Yeah.
Everybody's smiling. So, but so that's great. But was that what you thought you would end up doing?
You know, it's like when my father bugged me about, what are you going to do with your life? What are you going to do with your life? I would say, yeah, engineering. But I didn't really know what it was. I didn't really have a clue what had to be done to get there. And it really took me, I'm fortunate that my father could put me through school, but, you know, I'm fortunate that I had 2 shots at it.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. I ended up going to my PhD, and my family kept on saying, "When are you going to get out?"
I went back for my master's. I never got it because I didn't finish my thesis, but I took all the classwork for a master's too. Because we were living on this farm and we were living for basically nothing. And, you know, I think I've experienced people talk about living near the water, living near this. Well, I live in the harshest places. You know, hot winters, cold winters, hot summers. Yeah, that's my.
So what town do you live in?
Oh, south of Denver in Centennial, Colorado.
Oh,
Are
okay.
you still in Colorado?
All right. And Patrice, you live in Colorado?
Yes.
Yeah, we see Patrice and we see Kathy Hughes when Kathy Hughes came out.
We
And
used to have Wantagh reunions.
Lori Wiseman, we see her a lot. And I'm in Ron Rudolph's poker group.
Oh, wow. Ron Rudolph. What does he do?
Oh, that's a whole nother story.
He looks exactly the same.
Does he look the same?
Yeah,
Everybody does.
I don't know.
Same.
We backcountry ski together.
Wow.
It's yeah.
You guys know all the backstories of these people. So I don't know the backstories.
I feel so lucky to grow up in Wantagh. I don't know, you know, you have to go back to like post World War II and why your parents ended up in this place. And I swear to God, like Sunrise Park, some years later, I learned about like there was court-ordered busing. They were going to bus. I said, that's nothing new. They're busing Jews into my neighborhood all the time.
Thanks a lot.
No, that's what it's
with you right now.
We have the majority here, you know.
That's what
We're taking over. Look out. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah.
Coming with our spaceships.
Yeah, it's funny because Park. And
Well, if you read Philip Roth, you think maybe there was a scheme to mix people. It's just interesting. It's so interesting about the decisions that were made by our elders that led us to where we are, right?
yeah,
Well, I'll tell you a short story. Somebody came to our house. It was one of my neighbors, and there was a black family looking to buy a house at the end of the street. It was an engineer for Grumman, and they wanted my mother to sign a petition to keep these people off our street. And my mother, of course, would not sign it. And
What year was that?
it was Janet Fiedler's house, and she left probably in junior high. So probably if we were 13 or 14,
The 60s.
early 60s, I would say. Early 60s. But if you think Wantagh was integrated, you need to step outside.
Oh no!
no, it wasn't at all.
I know where I.
The Jews and the Italians were integrated.
Yes, that was how.
Yeah.
Hey, wait a second. I'm British.
So
My grandparents were
You don't
British.
count.
Yeah,
Sorry,
you were an oddball.
Yeah, my grandfather had a house on the water in Freeport, and that's where we used to always escape to. And
Then Guy Lombardo came down there.
yeah, well, we were on the next channel over from Guy Lombardo, but my grandfather bought his property in 1914, and so that's where my father grew up. And I swear to God, my mom died when I was 22 or something, but she, we had the chance to move to Freeport, and it was just, there was that Maginot line, to use that word, was Merrick, and people said, if you go beyond Merrick, if you go to Freeport, you go to Roosevelt, you go anywhere like that, it's not like Wantagh. And Wantagh still is 98%. I hate to bring this up because it's not supposed to be politics, but it's 98% white. So,
well, some of those things haven't changed.
yeah.
Some of those
And
things.
you know what? Let me say something about Wantagh. I thought when I was a kid that it was a town. It's like nothing. It's a school district. It doesn't have a mayor. It's not really a town.
No, it's not a city. A city has a mayor and its own water department and stuff. No, it's not it's not a city. It's not anything. We were part of the town of what was
So
it?
it was all
County
about
Hempstead,
us.
right?
It was
Hempstead.
all about us and controlling who went to the schools.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
That's what it was politically. Yeah.
correct. So, just so you guys know, the reason I'm not asking Patrice a lot of questions is she was a stand-in this evening in case other people couldn't make it in.
I know. I saw Patrice on a previous episode.
Yeah.
Did you share the same information?
I haven't
No,
shared really anything yet.
She's changing all the time.
Yeah,
Don't blame me.
I figured Patrice would, throw in some zingers, from time to time, being a guest on the, appearing a second time.
Hey, I want to say something about a shout out to my family. I have 7 kids in my family, and we had a kid in Sunrise Park School for 18 straight years.
Wow.
Whoa.
Well,
Yeah.
the Drummonds would have done
Yeah,
the same
that's
thing.
Yeah, the Drummonds were a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, the
The
Prellers,
The Grahams had a lot of kids.
the
The
Prellers.
Huskies had a lot of kids.
Glenn, tell
Catholics.
the panel who you're married to.
I'm sorry.
Tell the panel who you're married to.
Oh, Jean Preller, John Preller's sister.
Oh. He was like a state champ wrestler.
Yes.
Yep.
John and Neil. Brella.
Neil. Both John and Neil have passed away since, and but their mom is still alive and living out in Greenport. And so we go up there and visit. So,
Very
but
cool.
yeah, they had somebody every 2 years. So my sister-in-law had 9 kids and was pregnant 16 times.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
and she was from Wantagh, from a huge family. So, and they were very, very, very Catholic. My brother married very Catholic women. So, okay, so time is running down, and we're going to ask this last question. And it's the one I usually ask. And we're going to start with Alida because she's been the most quiet coming along here. This isn't a memorial of the high school or of Wantagh, but is there something that you take from Wantagh? Maybe somebody, a lesson you learned from a teacher or something about Wantagh that has stuck with you to this day and makes it, special or not special.
I think it was Mr. Kalinowski.
Yeah.
Who I had as a typing teacher, and then he was the summer school principal, and I was his secretary.
Wow.
And in my senior year, and I really admired that man. I thought he was terrific. I really did. I thought he was excellent with the students. I thought he was a great role model for us. And what he gave me was to inspire my go out in the world and do whatever I want to do, but as long as I'm happy.
Yeah, he's still online, and people write to him. So
I love that guy too.
Yeah, he was, and he still was. I didn't really cross paths with him that much, but it's fun, seeing all the sites that I deal with for Wantagh and how much admiration people have for him.
He did driver's ed for me.
Yeah, he did driver's ed. Yeah.
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 I didn't have him then. I had one of the other gym teachers. So at that time, so that's good that he taught you can do anything you want.
Yep.
As long as you're happy.
Yep.
So let's go up to Richard. Richard, what would you say? Is there something about Wantagh, anything that you bring forward with you that was important?
Two things. I think, well, I just was crazy about Jeff Bennett as an English teacher.
Oh.
And in fact, I still communicate with him fairly regularly. Just thought he was a great teacher, and he even increased my love for reading. And then also just in general, and not specifically any coach, but just the discipline that playing sports gave me in my later life, and understanding how that discipline transferred into, working and making a living and just being disciplined like that.
Cool.
Right.
So had some really great coaches, had some coaches that were not so great, but there was always that discipline there.
That's okay.
Cool. Which sports did you play?
I played football and lacrosse, neither one of them very well, but I enjoyed doing it.
Cool. So, Susan, that's your husband.
That's my husband, Bill.
Hello.
Hi, how you doing?
All right. So, well, that sounds good.
Right.
I appreciated. A lot of people talked about Jim Grady. Recently, that's popped up, and as new people go to the memorial, they see who's passed, and a lot of memorials to Grady. And I played baseball, and I still play baseball, and it's still the same lessons. learn the rules. Once you learn the rules, then you're in the right place, all the time. So Patrice, I'm going to give you a chance to talk. What do you think? What would be your answer?
As far as teachers,
or anything about Wantagh.
Patrice. I had to order Chinese food.
It's almost bedtime, Chris.
Mr. Chisholm would have been the biggest influence, but I've been thinking about this, and my English teachers, I think all through high school, I mean, that was the one subject I was good in academically. And I'm still a voracious reader, and I have a lot of things that I've written over the years that I went back recently and looked at. This whole nostalgia has sparked that. And I was a decent writer, and I credit that with my English teachers. But Mr. Chisholm, he really challenged me. He was my art teacher, and I went to art school, and I worked as a professional artist till I couldn't stand it anymore. And then I ended up in the restaurant business for most of my life. And I retired from that about 4 years ago. And my husband passed away 2 weeks after we retired.
Oh, jeez.
And I live in Colorado. I live near Boulder, which I look to the right, and there's mountains. If I turn around and I look to the left, there's mountains.
And there's
Joe has water, and you have mountains.
Yeah, I do miss the water. Yeah, and I'm still in touch with Mr. Chisholm. He actually has bought some of my artwork, which is so flattering. And sometimes I post some of my stuff on Facebook. I still paint a lot, and it's a really good. Well, it's a hobby now, but I do sell sometimes. But it's really given me a really good outlet in retirement, and especially during COVID. So I'm really glad that that he always encouraged me.
That's good.
That's the really edited version. I've traveled all over. I became a camper, a skier, things that I never imagined I would ever do. My late husband was Fern Corwin's brother-in-law. As a matter of fact, that's who's been calling me and texting me. Yeah, I speak to her at least once or twice a week. She's my sister-in-law.
Wow. And you were close in high school.
Yes, she lived 2 doors down from me.
Yeah, you were close in high school. Wow.
Yeah. So.
Interesting. All right.
She was the first one to have the Rubber Soul album. Fern Corwin was the first one to show me the Rubber Soul album.
The Beatles out? Really?
The Beatles.
Yeah.
I don't picture Fern.
Bob, I can't imagine. She was into the monkeys.
She got it early.
She was into the monkeys.
My locker was next to hers, and she showed me.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't picture her with Rubber Soul. Okay.
No, I don't. No, she was more Herman's Hermits and the Monkeys.
Yeah. Sugar.
And Bobby Goldsboro, maybe.
Carpenters.
The Carpenters were early 1970s.
Fern Corwin had the highest boots when the boots. Remember the boots?
I think
would go way up the cliff.
Bob, you're getting us mixed up.
Boots.
I was the first one to wear hip huggers and bell bottoms to school in the 9th grade.
Wow.
I caused a scene.
Wow. Okay.
We had to wear dresses. Remember, Sue? We had to wear dresses.
Dresses until senior year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At your reunion, you know, any of you going, you should wear bell bottoms.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Wear the hairstyles of the time.
Yeah, well, it's
So-
similar. It's just
Yeah, I'm long. I'm
middle.
long.
like
I'm
that.
going to go over to Joe, and I wanted to say that I appreciated what you had to say about, the hard work and the customer being your customer before it was your
Company's
or
customer.
your company's customer, because that's, I have a lot of people who work for me right now, and that's the one lesson I try to impart on everyone.
I don't know if you can teach somebody that.
That's
Yeah.
it's hard to teach.
Yeah, it's hard to teach.
And we
Thank
just had a blow up today and about a customer, but the customer is who we're there to serve. And so I just wanted to let you know I appreciate that. But
Thank you.
given this question, what do you think?
Well, I have there's 3 teachers that come to mind, and they are in this order, because all of them, one way or another, tried to get me to grow up. I did not grow up too quickly. Let's just put it that way. So I kept putting it off. So, but Miss Smith, Sue Smith,
Oh God, math.
always, I don't know, there was something about her. I know direct talks that, she tried to guide me sometimes. John Chisholm and Tom Farmer. All 3 of those people are the teachers that I really remember. They tried. My parents tried. I didn't try, I don't know. I mean, they were looking back on it. They really tried to do the best they could. I wasn't, terrible, but I didn't want the responsibility. I didn't want life's responsibilities. So the easiest way to do it is you go to work and you hustle. And I don't have any regrets on it. For the most part, I'm a good worker for whoever. I never got fired from any of my jobs, so somebody must have liked me, FedEx kept me around for 35 years, so.
I've been fired, dude.
I don't want to say congratulations, but but
I've never been fired.
so it was good, and it was a safe place to grow up. Town, you can really go wherever you wanted to go through in town.
Yeah.
If you're a boy,
Sandy's, well, that's
Does anyone else feel like a division, like at Sunrise Highway, that was north of Sunrise Highway, or maybe even Merrick Road? It was weird how the town was divided by those main streets.
I think that's true today, and no matter where you go, everything is
Yeah, right.
their own groups.
my piano teacher lived south of Merrick Road, and my mother had to drive me. It was a good distance,
Like
and
traumatic.
it was like another world. I agree.
Yeah. Well, it was the Wantagh Woods people who were the best people of all.
Of course.
So.
What is that? What is Wantagh Woods?
Wantagh Wood was north of Wantagh Avenue, like near
That's not right.
Wantagh Avenue
Road.
In between Jerusalem, Sunrise Highway, Wantagh Avenue, and all the way back to the farms that became the Seaford Oyster Bay Expressway.
Right.
So my parents bought 2 homes there, one for my grandmother and my great grandmother, and one for my parents. So, but anyway, thanks, Joe. I appreciate it. Susan, it's up to you. You're just before Bob.
Well, I have to agree with Richard that Mr. Bennett saved me in high school. He really did. Mr. Bennett was interested in me, was a mentor to me, liked me, encouraged me, and I also I love to read, and I can't say it was just him because my mother was an avid reader also. I mean, it was around me, but he really was someone that I think was very special and a gifted teacher. He really was. He reached out to a lot of people. I loved him. And I think coming from Wantagh, I have to say the beach was a big influence in my life. I've always liked to be near water. I love the beach. I find it very therapeutic. I find it relaxing. I find it's great for my head. And I like going to my parents took me there a lot. I went there a lot as a teenager and as an adult. And I'm in Florida now, and I'm not that far from the beach. I love the beach. And even now, when I can, I get my ass over to the ocean and just hang out. I love it. And
you don't use baby oil anymore.
No baby oil. And I have a big umbrella, Patrice, 2 big umbrellas and chairs and sunscreen and the whole bit. But that's Wantagh for me. Was it exciting growing up? Not really. I think we got an okay education. And there wasn't a lot of diversity. Maybe as an adult, I crave that more than I did as a teenager. I don't know. But
And you find that in Sarasota?
I don't live in Sarasota. I live in Boynton Beach.
Oh, okay. Boynton.
No, I don't find that. I find a lot of old people like myself. But no, but I've traveled a lot and I like a lot of people. I do. I like a lot of different kinds of people. I don't need to be just with my own. So, you know, I think I learned that. But not from Wantagh. But I would have to say, Mr. Bennett, who was a great teacher. You asked for a great teacher. Great teacher. I think the English department also, Patrice, was strong. I didn't like the phys ed department. I remember being brutalized by those teachers, probably because I never wanted to play. And the beach, which I found very a great environment, a great setting for myself.
Yeah, that's really cool. I've been lucky. I've been to 116 countries.
Wow.
And the beach has always been a part of my life.
Yeah.
And particularly when you find yourself in Senegal on the beach, or in Mozambique on the beach, or in Montenegro on the beach, you know, it just, the water ties me in. I wouldn't be able to survive in Colorado. I would, I'd be looking for the ocean on my left.
And on my right, Joe, whether you're walking up or you're walking down.
Absolutely.
We're waiting for California, for the Western to just drop off into the ocean.
The Western.
Yeah, Colorado has Red Rock. Colorado is beautiful. Colorado has other things. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a beautiful place, but you got to get over it to get back to the ocean.
I've been here since 1979, and I think it took at least 5 years for me to accept that I didn't have an ocean. And I still crave it. And I have a sleep app that's the ocean, and I listen to it every night.
Okay.
That's cool.
The ocean's great.
All right, so Bob, I do appreciate you putting up with the emails from me and being part of this over the phone.
Yeah, thanks, Glenn.
I'm really glad that you made it. So, what do you have? What do you think about?
You know, I totally agree with the tug of the ocean, and I lived in Wilmington, North Carolina for 8 years when I worked for the Corps of Engineers, and we had Wrightsville Beach and Carolina Beach right there. And this October, I'm bringing my grandchildren to the ocean.
Very nice.
Carolina Beach. So it's all arranged, and yeah, the beach thing is like doesn't go. I worked there. I worked 3 years. I worked at Central Mall. Oh, one of the best assignments was the softball game. Working out at the softball games at Jones Beach. The concessions, selling hot dogs and the such. So, you know, Jones Beach is such a part of my life. But, you know, What am I supposed to say? What's the question?
Well, the question is something about Wantagh or
Wantagh.
the teachers, or if there was something special that you take with you. It sounds like the ocean you took.
Jeff Bennett gave me a big app when I was supposed to do a biography, and the biography was going to be about this Japanese housekeeper that my father hired because my mother had died. And we had this Japanese housekeeper named Yasuko. And I wrote like 3 sentences about her. And he gave me an F. But one of my younger brothers became great friends with Jeff Bennett. So I partied with him over the years later on. And I don't know, the teachers were great. I thought Wantagh was great. I can't tell you how supportive people were when my mother died in 1964.
Wow.
I can't tell. Like, elementary school teachers would knock on my door, and yeah, it was the greatest. It was the greatest. But we're all part of a bigger picture of how we move this American thing together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's fascinating. It's great. Thank you, Glenn, for doing this. I don't know what else to say. It's just like I have so much to say.
Yeah.
But
well, are you going to the reunion or you're not?
You put it in such harsh terms.
I'm even going to the reunion.
I'm thinking about whether I can get to New York in September. Maybe. My family has always gotten together. All my siblings get together at Thanksgiving, generally.
Uh-huh.
But, it's always a challenge to get people together, right?
Yeah, for sure. Well, we
right.
have...
And then the Delta variant, who knows, right?
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. And all the people not masking up or not getting the vaccine where they should.
Glenn, I want to tell you that you have the skills and you did this, and it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, here.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you, Glenn.
So I want to thank you all for coming. I know that you all have something better to do on a Monday evening.
Not really.
Eh,
Not true.
Really.
I've got some Mugu Guy
Okay.
PM meeting.
I had something better to do, but I do this anyway. So anyway, so
We
thank you
also,
very much.
Glenn,
And-
can I interrupt you for a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't, first, again, like Bob said, thank you. But maybe when we all close out the screens, maybe take a little time to think about, we're lucky enough to be able to be interviewed by you. There's a lot of our classmates that haven't been able to reach this point in their lives for one reason or another, and they've passed away. So if maybe we could keep them with a little bit of thoughts,
Good thought, Joe.
a
Yeah.
couple of seconds, a minute, whatever it takes, whether it's tonight or tomorrow. Just remember, we're all pretty lucky here to be able to be talking.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate that, and I do the memorial because I'm a big believer in remembering people, remembering people who used to be there. And, it started first with my class of 75, and we lost a lot of people to for various reasons. And it just grew out of that. So,
How about 9/11? How about 9/11, Glenn? How many 9/11 victims?
My best friend.
Kathy Jaffe.
Kathy.
yeah,
Kathy Jaffe. Yeah.
yeah, there are,
We made out together.
You remember all this stuff?
oh
I
my gosh.
think he's making it all up.
I thought he was afraid of girls.
I thought so
Yeah,
too.
for someone afraid of girls, you had an awful lot of.
Richard Oh, and Richard Nubel's upstairs.
Richard Noble.
Okay.
Oh, man.
So going out on Joe's note, I appreciate it. And I appreciate you all being here. I'm going to end the broadcast now. This is the longest show I've done, and I appreciate that you all stayed on.
Take
So,
care. Stay safe, everyone.
Thanks, Glenn.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you,
Bye,
Glenn.
everyone.
Thank you, Glenn.
Thanks,
See you in September.
All righty. See ya.
Cheers.
Bye, Alida.